Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished professors, respected colleagues, and fellow participants. My name is Yuli Yuliana Haidi from the Guidance and Counseling Department, Graduate School of the Indonesia University of Education, Bandung, Indonesia. It is a great honor to be speaking at this UPI-UPSI International Conference 2025 and to share my study entitled The Impact of Online Identity and Social Media Engagement on High School Students' Academic Motivation. In recent years, we have witnessed how the rapid growth of digital technology has transformed the way adolescents interact, learn, and express themselves. Social media has become not only a platform for communication, but also a central space where young people construct their online identity, how they see themselves, and wish to be seen by others. However, this identity building process doesn't occur in isolation. It deeply affects how students approach learning, manage motivation, and pursue academic success. Today, I will present how online identity and social media engagement can be both empowering and challenging for high school students' academic motivation. According to the 2024 survey by the Indonesian Internet Service Providers Association, internet usage in Indonesia reached 79.5%, with over 91% of users aged 15 to 19 years. This means that the majority of high school students are actively building and managing their identities online through posts, comments, and interactions on platforms such as Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. On one hand, these platforms provide opportunities for creativity, collaboration, and self expression. On the other hand, they also introduce new risks such as distraction, social comparison, and reduced focus on academic goals. Therefore, it becomes essential to understand how online identity and social media engagement influence students' motivation to learn, and how we as educators and counselors can help them navigate this digital environment in healthy, productive ways. This study employed a systematic literature review method. I analyzed 24 national and international research articles published with the last 10 years for the last 10 years. All focus on the relationship between online identity, social media engagement, and academic motivation among high school and university students. The analysis framework followed the Emerald structure: introduction, methods, result, and discussion, focusing on theoretical foundations such as self-determination theory by Deci and Ryan and identity-based motivation theory by Eisman. Through this approach, I aim to identify key trends, mediating factors, and practical implications that could help schools design more effective strategies to enhance student motivation in the digital era. Most studies agree that the way adolescents construct their online identity has significant psychological implications. A positive and authentic online identity where students express their real interests, learning goals, and values was found to strengthen academic self-confidence, social connectedness, and long-term goal orientation. For example, AFSI and Paris Torres highlight that adolescents who use social media to reflect their real self and academic aspirations demonstrate higher intrinsic motivation and resilience in facing academic challenges. In contrast, an image-based or unstable online identity centered on appearance or external validation tends to lead to social pressure, self-doubt, and reduced learning motivation. These findings support the identity-based motivation perspective, which argue that students are more motivated to learn when their academic goals align with their self-concept. The second key theme concerns social media engagement, how often, how long, and for what purpose students use these platforms. Out of the 24 review studies, around 60% report a positive relationship between productive social media use and academic motivation. For instance, when students use platforms to access learning materials, join study groups, or collaborate with peers, their intrinsic motivation tended to increase. However, the remaining 40% of studies found negative outcomes, such as decreased focus, procrastination, and academic burnout, especially when social media was used excessively or without self control. The findings clearly suggest that the quality and purpose of engagement, not just the frequency, determine whether social media becomes a tool for learning or a source of distraction. The third dimension involves psychological mediators such as self esteem, social anxiety, and self regulation. Studies by Landa Blanco and Mo show that these factors mediate the relationship between social media use and academic motivation. For example, students with high self esteem and emotional regulation can benefit from social media as learning support, while those with low self esteem or anxiety tend to experience negative effects like distraction or digital fatigue. This reinforces the need for emotional awareness and digital self regulation skills as essential parts of education in social media era. To integrate these findings theoretically, two major frameworks can explain the observed patterns. First, self-determination theory by Deci and Ryan, which states that intrinsic motivation grows when three needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness are fulfilled. Social media can meet these needs when used for self-expression and learning, but can undermine them when driven by external validation. Second, identity-based motivation by Eisenman, which emphasizes that people are more motivated to act when the behavior aligns with their identity. Thus, cultivating an academic-oriented digital identity can encourage students to stay motivated and resilient in their studies. Key patterns from research. 1. Purpose determines outcome. Educational use supports motivation, compulsive use reduces it. The intent behind social media engagement is critical. 2. Intensity matters. Moderate engagement enriches learning. Excessive use creates distraction and burnout. Self-regulation is essential. 3. Identity equality shapes outcomes. Authentic, positive online identities correlate with increased academic confidence. Image-based identities trigger anxiety and comparison. Practical recommendation for schools. Digital literacy programs teach students to build positive online identities and use social media productively for learning. Identity counseling helps students develop authentic digital identities aligned with academic goals and personal values. Guidance strategies support self-regulation and emotional balance to mediate the relationship between social media use and motivation. Conclusion: managing digital identity for academic success. Online identity and social media engagement significantly influence high school students' academic motivation. Positive, authentic digital identities increase self-confidence and learning engagement. Moderate, purpose social media use enrich learning through collaboration and research access. However, excessive image focus use and poor self-regulation decrease motivation and increase burnout. Psychological factors. self-esteem, anxiety, and self-regulation mediate this relationship. Schools and counselors must develop comprehensive digital literacy programs and identity counseling to help students build constructive academic identities and use social media productively. This approach strengthens learning motivation while fostering adaptive, critical, and responsible digital citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this session, I would like to emphasize that the impact of online identity and social media engagement on students' academic motivation is not simply a technological issue. It is a human issue. In this digital age, our students are constantly constructing who they are and how they wish to be seen. When this process is guided by awareness, authenticity, and self-regulation, social media can become a powerful ally for learning. However, without balance and purpose, it can easily turn into a source of distraction and emotional strain. Therefore, the key message from this research is clear. We need to cultivate digital literacy and identity awareness as essential components of education. Schools, teachers, and counselors must work together to help students build a positive online presence that supports, not undermines, their academic motivation and personal growth. I sincerely hope that the insights shared today will inspire us to reflect on how we can create more adaptive, mindful, and empowering digital learning environments for the next generation. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and I wish you all continue success and meaningful collaboration in your academic and professional journeys. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.